Hello and welcome to Media City. We are in the studio block just next to the BBC Philharmonic studio. My name's Lindsay Chapman and we are hurtling towards the end of BBC Radio 1's Live Lounge Month. And it's going to finish in spectacular fashion with a very special performance between the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra and rock band The 1975, who, look, I've got with me here. Well, half of them anyway. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, Matty. How are you?
Fine, thanks. We're a rock band today.
Well, do you know what? The first thing I was going to do was ask you to describe your music because it's described in so many different ways.
I don't know if it's rock. Rock makes me think of like Nickelback. We're not rock.
Pop.
Pop. I said we're like art pop.
1980s.
It's quite 80s. I think we're just a heavily influenced kind of. We have that millennial mindset of creating in the way that we consume. I say that all the time. But anyway, yeah.
So I've got Matty with me, I've got George with me on the end there, and I've got Sam Swallow with me here as well. Because this is, as I say, a special collaboration between the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra, so classical musicians, and a rock pop 80s influenced band.
Ambient band.
Ambient band. And you're the arranger. What on earth does that mean?
It means that I had to take the guy's music and make it sound good on an orchestra. Oh, no, not make it sound good. Oh.
I love that though, but that is it. That is what you did. It was amazing. The best thing the best part of the collaboration is the fact that when we met up, it was the music itself hadn't been coloured. It just obviously you understand classical music, so you'd arranged it in a classical format, and it's almost like somebody doing what I imagine somebody doing, like an amazing impression of you. Do you know what I mean? It was really quite amazing because you haven't changed anything, so it really has the identity of the band. Anyway, you can talk about it.
Well, this is something that I wanted to ask actually, which is where do you start with something like this? Because obviously you've written your own music, which is amazing, but you're a band of 4. There are over 70 musicians in that room. How do you possibly rewrite the music to make sure everybody's doing something?
Well, first of all, I think what you don't do is add more stuff than needs to be there. I mean, on the tracks, there's already so much rich stuff going on. There's loads of bass-heavy stuff. There's percussive instruments like synths and stuff, and actually it kind of maps very nicely onto the orchestra, and you get the cellos and the double basses fattening up that bottom end. So it's kind of, you sort of listen to it and you go, oh, that's going to sound good on that instrument there, that's going to work there, and not really do too much more because then it spoils what's already, these guys have spent I don't know how many months putting together an album, and like over the tiny details going, oh no, we don't want that, so it's you got to do it sensitively, and then occasionally like a little sprinkling of something different here and there, just to kind of, if I was getting bored or something, but on the whole it's all there, it's all kind of ready for the picking, really.
How long have you been working on it?
I decided not to count up the hours actually, but I think over about 6 weeks. I mean, we chatted about it ages ago.
Initially,
yeah,
something like
anyway,
that.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah,
I mean, as soon as you sent anything through, it was really straightforward, to be honest.
It's amazing. So you first started talking about it back in June. In terms of rehearsing, though, in this space that we've got, this huge room that's just next door, the acoustic studio, how long did you get in there with the orchestra?
Just today, we'd done 2 run-throughs of all the songs, but it was
They're
perfect.
pros, man. They're consummate professionals. It's amazing being like a musician. Like, hello, I'm a musician, and then meeting musicians who are like actual. I mean, I don't want to downplay our ability, but there's some really to the dynamic that exists within those players is incredible, and it's been quite special, and it's put us at ease as well because it just sounded so beautiful when we were in there.
Did they behave themselves when you were in there?
A lot more than we did. We were getting well excited.
I bet you were. It must be absolutely mad to hear it all come together for the first time. And you've been working on it for a while. What's it? I mean, you must have been nervous before that first rehearsal.
Well, there is a benefit with technology. You can mock these things up a bit first, so you get a rough idea of how it's going to play. But it's never going to be as good as a real thing. I mean, you can't with samples you can do a lot on computers, but yeah, no, like that kind of. This is all happening now. Everyone in this room is creating this sound together at the same time. It's like kind of a weird magic.
It is, isn't it? An intangible the power of an orchestra is something that you never really experience when that kind of amplification that's natural is amazing.
You don't just hear it, do you? You feel it, I think, in that space. It's incredible. Now, your gig is actually on Friday night. It's live on BBC Radio 1 at 7 o'clock and also on the BBC Radio 1 iPlayer channel. It's sold out as well. How do you connect with all those different audiences? So you've got live audience in the room and then you've got radio and TV as well.
I think for different things there's a different answer, but for this, because it's so much about the music itself, it's very difficult to not get immediately lost in it. So I'm quite looking forward to not really thinking about it that much. It's such a... I cried before when we were doing it. Yeah, I'm not being soppy, but I started crying. So that's what we can't do. And then Ross started crying. Honestly, it's really quite a powerful thing to create something and then have it delivered like that. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to the purity of the experience, I think.
What about for you, George? Is it an emotional thing?
Yeah, definitely. I had the slightly clinical environment of a plastic screen surrounding me.
I saw that. So what's all that about then? Is that just to protect the musicians or quieten you down a bit?
Yeah, it's in case I get excited and try and attack them.
Yeah, it's an
no,
emotional
it's because I'm just so loud. Yeah,
amazing.
Plastic screen of emotion.
It is.
Just box you in there. Now, obviously, we all know that you have a massive fan base, and they've been getting in touch with us. So, have we got any questions? We've got so many questions coming in.
Oh, we've got one for Sam.
We've got one. Oh, okay. We'll start with you, Sam. So, any songs you found difficult to arrange with the orchestra? And that's from Janine. Thank you for your question.
I think the ones that are more tricky are the kind of more rocky, louder numbers. The really beautiful atmospheric ones really lend themselves to the orchestra. When you're doing the rocky, loud ones like The Sound, they're in danger of becoming cheesy with the orchestra. So I think trying to kind of keep it bassy and lots of brass and that kind of stuff. So no, I didn't find any of them difficult at all, actually. But if I did, it would have been, I think the sound was a tricky one to get right. But I think it sounded good today.
It sounded brilliant. I loved it. Yeah, it was really cool. I think classically as well, we love people like Steve Reich and that kind of thing, the kind of minimalism within classical music. So it's cool to channel that. That happens a lot in Like It When You Sleep. Kind of sounded like one of those pieces.
Have you ever worked with an orchestra before?
No, never. So it's been really it's been one of my favourite things I've ever done, actually. Which I'm not over exaggerating. It's been one of my favourite things that I've ever done.
We're going to keep quoting that. We're going to keep quoting that and chop it out and put it everywhere. That's brilliant. Let's see what other questions we've got for you, because I want to make sure.
Nice though. What was your first reaction to working with the BBC Philharmonic?
I started crying. That was my first reaction. Not in like a soppy way, but like in a kind of, we're very
Not in a hard way.
No, it's very much like our life. The band's kind of our life, and it's the story of our lives. And then when you get to watch it so objectively, it's like.
Well, I think it's that instrumentation is so associated with being immediately emotive as well. So it kind of it was commanding us as well, and we haven't had that before.
Yeah, like in
usually,
films and stuff.
It was like we were playing. It was like we were doing a movie
of our own. Yeah, it was cool, man. It's cool, man.
That's pretty cool to feel like you're watching your own music happening in front of you. That's incredible. I think you'll get so much out of the live that you're going to do on Friday as well, because it really is special sharing that with an audience of people that love your work as well.
Totally.
Is there anything that you're particularly looking forward to about performing at Blackpool Tower Ballrooms? Because that's a venue, isn't it? That's all right.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be like
It's the
all those little booths where everyone wears like dresses and that.
I don't think people will be wearing dresses.
They have curtains around them. It's like
people wear dresses with curtains on.
It's like Phantom of the Opera. Those little booths.
I think George just got confused about where we're playing, but I'm very excited to play that venue. Apparently, it sounds really good as well.
I think it's going to be absolutely stunning. And I actually read that you boys are big fans of the sea. So you're going to be literally on the promenade right next to the sea. Yeah. I read this. I know. I've read this. I have. So in one of their interviews, these boys said that whenever you're near the sea, you like to go and chill out, and it's a beacon, to quote you directly.
We love boats and like stuff. We love. What was I going to say? The Step Brothers. We love boats and we love being on the ocean. So you're right, but I've never been quoted as loving the sea.
A beacon. You called it a beacon. I can show you the interview.
Did I? Well, I sound like a right pretentious knob.
No, you don't. Not at all. So let's ask you a question from Kyle. Thanks for sending your question. Anything new being added to the set list for the show?
Yeah.
Can you tell us anything
No,
about? Oh, I knew you were going to
'cause
say
what's
no.
the point? What's the no?
All right, then. In that case, tell me how you made your choices. Was it a discussion with Sam? How does it work?
We spoke, didn't we?
Yeah, it was all the most suitable ones on the album for the orchestra.
It was a celebration of the record, and yeah, there was already elements of the record that had strings on it. There was songs that I knew that we innately knew would lend themselves to a thing, and then when we sent it over to you, you were kind of in agreement, right?
Yeah. There's without giving too much away, there's a track that's got a lot of orchestra in it, which is really really cool. And these guys were like up for, let's just listen to what they do, rather than just playing everything and sitting back and seeing how that goes.
Embrace this opportunity. We never thought we would have the privilege of doing this. So yeah.
All right, well, that has whet our appetite just a little bit by saying there's one piece that's got a lot of orchestral stuff in it. Amazing. Let me just ask you, because I want to know this one. You're quite a fan of performing shirtless. Are you going to do that with the BBC Philharmonic?
Yeah, I'm not really anymore.
Okay.
I
I think that would be highly
It was always like-
inappropriate.
yeah, that would be really
That's
inappropriate.
what I wanted to ask.
Run around.
I only
in
do
the
it when I'm
pulpit.
being like particularly obnoxious, when I'm kind of being like a parody of being a rock star. I got my top. I'm going to wear a top,
Okay.
but it might be a top that is
Trousers.
my body. So it might be like a t-shirt of my bare chest.
You get that.
That would be cool. It wouldn't be cool. What's another question?
That's something to look forward to, I think. Something to look forward to. This is quite a good one. What's the biggest challenge you faced in the rehearsal room today? Is there anything you've kind of come up against where you thought, actually...
Well, that's more of a Sam question, really.
Can we
I've
go for
kind
Sam?
of just gone with it.
I think some of the rhythmical stuff is quite hard because you've got this big echoey room and people are listening with clicks and you've got a guy conducting and there's lots of kind of rhythmical elements and reflections bouncing off and stuff. But amazingly, you really hear after a couple of minutes of the orchestra kind of getting into it, they just kind of lock in and suddenly we know where we're going with this and stuff. So nothing to worry about.
Just tell me what performing with clicks means, because that's something that I've learnt about today. So you're wearing headphones, yeah?
Metronome, yeah. So it's basically just that. It keeps everyone in time.
It's derived from us being a four-piece, but being an incredibly ambitious band live-wise. So we now have a keyboard player and a saxophone player and stuff like that. But we couldn't, we're not the Stooges, and nobody wants us to turn up and be like a raw band. So we've always had a lot of stuff on track. So that means that George plays along to a click track, and then and it just means it just keeps everybody in time. Sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't.
And the rest of the orchestra are hearing this beat as well, are they, in their ears?
Yeah, the orchestra are all on click as well, which they're not normally.
Yeah, exactly.
But for us, they are. We're a very syncopated, very rhythmical band, especially in songs like "Love Me" and "If I Believe You." And I think that without that, it's everyone likes it to get late and D'Angelo, but when it starts to get sloppy, it's not cool.
And also with the track now, you can, because you've got a whole orchestra there, you can pretty much lose the track because you've got 70 other you're just a massive big band.
That must be a feeling, that.
It's just amazing. I can't say really what it's like. It's just it's very, very powerful. Classical music, it has that thing, doesn't it? Those instruments just have an emotional cue.
I think you're right there, and actually, nice segue, because there's a classical music question that's come in from Annie, who says, do you have a favourite classical composer?
Steve Reich.
Okay.
Steve Wright.
Steve Wright in the afternoon.
On BBC Radio 2, nice link.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's George's favourite classical composer. What about you?
I actually did my dissertation on Steve Reich. Who knew? Who knew?
It was meant to be.
dissertation on
Meant to
Steve
be.
Reich?
Did, yeah.
They're just having their own
Really?
conversation right across me now. Brilliant.
I'd say like John Hopkins, even though it's
Oh.
not like that's kind of more contemporary, but
John Hopkins
he
is.
writes a lot of string arrangements. as well.
Yeah, do you like John Hopkins? Have you heard records like Immunity and stuff like that? Oh, he's one of our. Got a bit of a crush on John Hopkins. Not in that way, but kind of in that way.
We've got another really cool question. I think this is a good one. Would you like to try your hand at conducting at any point?
Yeah.
Look, well, he's in it.
It's just waving your hands about.
Good conducting.
At one point, I mean, I know the conductor's amazing. I'm not trying to sound
Trivialise his ability.
But at one point, I was like, imagine if he wasn't actually holding that and he was just dancing.
Yeah, I know.
It would be really weird.
It would be. It would be awesome though, because
It'd be really
I can't keep stay in time with a conductor like that. I haven't learned how to do that.
You can't. You can kind of like see what I don't know. I can feel.
I'd be a good conductor. I'd be well into it.
It looks amazing, doesn't it? To stand there and do it. He told me though that he's actually conducting slightly ahead. Did you know this? So he's conducting the orchestra slightly ahead to keep up with your beat.
Orchestras are famously slower, you know, so they're ever so slightly behind the beat. I tried conducting once actually, and it is weird when you go like that, and then the orchestra come in. There's like a delay to it.
There needs to also be enough time for them to see you conducting it and register what that is, and then do it. It's not like.
So what? Are you on the and then? If you're the conductor, are you on the and?
Maybe not that far away, but there's a. It's preemptive, and if you watch it, it's like, oh wow, how's that working?
Like that.
But they're all tuned in, and they're all on the same kind of frequency.
They can all do their own tuning. Do you hear them tuning up just naturally?
It's amazing. They do that every single day, and as soon as they come back from lunch, that room is actually temperature controlled because obviously it affects the tuning of their instruments. So they're always tuning up. Let me ask you about being back in Manchester, because you're from Manchester. How does it feel to be home? Can I call it home?
Yeah, it feels good. We got a bit excited and went out last night as soon as we got here, so we felt a bit rough, but it was a good hangover cure doing this. It felt amazing.
Get up and go and do something.
It was a very good hangover cure.
Yeah, we
one
love
of the best, in
Manchester.
fact.
We love Manchester.
I love Manchester too. You've got just a few days then before this goes out live on Radio 1 and on the iPlayer as well. What do you do in between this day and Friday? Do you rehearse anymore, or is that kind of it?
We've got a little bit of work to do, bits and bobs. We'll go back to London and kind of sort ourselves out. But the day after the show, we leave to do our American tour. So we're kind of got to get ready for that.
That's insane. The day after, so Saturday morning.
We fly from Manchester to New York, yeah.
Wow, you are busy. Do you know what? I've always wanted to ask this as well. Who's kind of the messiest on tour? Who's the worst? Is it you?
Yeah, probably.
Do you just leave your stuff all over the bus?
Yeah.
Why not? There you go. Well, we are coming to an end here. Thank you so much for talking to us, the 1975. It's been brilliant, and thank you as well, Sam. Just fascinating.
Shout out to Sam, by the way.
Shout out.
No, he has. You have been amazing. You've been amazing. I've been amazing, but you've been amazing.
Obviously, you're going to want to watch this gig. It's live on BBC Radio 1 on Friday night from the Blackpool Tower Ballroom at 7 o'clock. So tune in. You can also catch it on the Radio 1 iPlayer page as well. So head there. Thank you so much and have an amazing time on Friday.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to chat.
Lovely to chat.
See you later.
See you later.